I'm going to keep reading super chats throughout the show, but we got to get into Biden. All right. So Biden's speech was relatively chock full of longness and long drawn, dramatic pauses. So I'm going to speed it up and we're going to hopefully get through this yawn fest. All right. I need y'all to see. Look at this guy. This guy looks like he's completely out of it. He looks like he's about to cry, to be honest with you. But we're going to speed this up.
Thank you.
And remember, guys, this is the guy, as he gives this speech, and I have not seen the speech yet. I'm going to read those super chats shortly. As he gives his speech, I want y'all to remember that this was possibly going to be your next president again for a second term. So remember that, all right?
I tell you what, to my dearest daughter Ashley, God love you, you're incredible. Thank you for that introduction and for being my courageous heart, along with Hunter and our entire family.
Hunter?
And especially our rock,
Did you say Hunter?
She still leaves me both breathless and speechless. Everybody knows her. I love her more than she loves me. She walks down the stairs and I still get that going boom, boom, boom. You all will know me. No, not kidding. Let's give a special round of applause to our First Lady, Jill Biden. The middle and the end. And I love you all. Folks. Let me ask you. Are you ready to vote for freedom? Are you ready to vote for democracy and for America? Let me ask you, are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States? My fellow Democrats, my fellow Americans, nearly 4 years ago, in winter, on the steps of the Capitol, on a cold January day, I raised my right hand and I swore an oath to you and to God to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and to faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States. In front of me was a city surrounded by the National Guard. Behind me, a Capitol just 2 weeks before had been overrun by a violent mob. What I knew then, from the bottom of my heart, that I knew now, there is no place in America for political violence. None. I wasn't looking to the past. I was looking to the future. I spoke of the work at hand, the moment we had to meet. It was, as I told you then, a winter of peril and possibility. Of peril and possibility. We're in the grip of a once-in-a-century pandemic, historic joblessness, a call for racial justice long overdue, clear and present threats to our very democracy.
You talking about Black Lives Matters? Wait. You talking about the pandemic? The very thing that enabled states to then influence what was going on in the election by basically locking down and telling people what they can and can't do and forcing people to take the jab? You talk about that? Are we talking about people marching for a Marxist organization that was exposed by Candace Owens for being a finessing group? The very group that said that they wanted to make sure that they empowered the community but gave nothing into the communities that they took donations for? The ones that y'all marched for and they shut y'all businesses down. Remember this. I want y'all to remember this because I remember the pandemic a little bit differently than you guys remember it, because I wound up putting on a hot dog suit and walking around and doing crazy things just to keep myself entertained and make sure that I gave y'all good content, okay? So let's remember that. But I also want y'all to remember this. That the same group that they were advocating for, and he's talking about as far as racial justice, I want y'all to remember that y'all couldn't go into the restaurants, you couldn't go into your healthcare provider, you couldn't go to work inside of elevators. You can only do two people inside of an elevator because they wanted y'all to be 6 feet apart. But they made sure that they allowed for these people to march together and infect each other, supposedly with the vid during these marches, and they let y'all burn down your own businesses and your own stores and your own auto zones and your own Wendy's, and then breach fences and go into neighborhoods that was supposed to be fenced off so that y'all couldn't go over there and do something that y'all wasn't supposed to do. Let's remember what really happened, and that these different states, the Democratic states, the blue states that was run by Democratic governors, kept their states shut down and then also influenced the election, in my opinion, in favor of Joe Biden. And then also on top of that, Republican states largely were the beneficiary of a lot of people deflecting or deferring from Democratic states and moving into Florida and Texas. And they still running from California and all of these Democratic states right now. They still running away. Everybody ran to Nashville. Everybody ran to Florida. Everybody ran to Texas. See, I remember a much different America during 2020 and 2021 than they remember it. I remember a whole nother America. But let him get it off. This is his farewell speech, a bitter farewell speech.
Thank you.
Funny how we rewrite history, don't we?
And yet I believe then, and I believe now, that progress was and is possible. Justice is achievable. And our best days are not behind us, they're before us.
They're ahead of us.
Now it's summer. The winter has passed. And with a grateful heart, I stand before you now on this August night to report that democracy has prevailed. Democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved. You've heard me say it before. We're facing an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine the fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. That's not hyperbole, I mean it literally. We're in a battle for the very soul of America.
Thank you, CEO Steve.
I ran for president in 2020 because of what I saw in Charlottesville in August of 2017. Extremists coming out of the woods, carrying torches, their veins bulging from their necks, carrying Nazi swastikas, and chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and the Ku Klux Klan, so emboldened by a president then in the White House that they saw as an ally. They didn't even bother to wear their hoods. Hate was on the march in America. Old ghosts and new garments, stirring up the oldest divisions, stoking the oldest fears, giving oxygen to the oldest forces that they long sought to tear apart America.
Now remember this, y'all, when they don't have any policy to stand on, because for some reason I've never been worried about any man in the hood except for one that got a black hoodie on that's trying to break into my car and steal my hood caps. The reality is this: when they don't have anything else to stand on, they play on your emotions and they try to make everything a race war. When they don't have anything else to stand on, if you ever go to a Trump rally, especially as a black woman or a black man, you will be loved and embraced and looked at as a celebrity. They're going to be trying to figure out who you are and how it is that they can support you and be trying to give you a back rub. When they have nothing else to stand on, they're going to stand on the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, and all of this stuff. And I don't know if y'all really know, but the KKK was actually the organization of the Democratic Party. They supported the Democratic Party. They love Democrats. When they have nothing else to stand on, it's always going to be, and the color of your skin, and the KKK came out with no hoods on. Okay.
In the process, a young woman was killed. When I contacted her mother, I asked about what happened. She told me. When the president was asked what he thought had happened, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said. That is what he said and what he meant. That's when I realized, had listened to the admonition of my dead son, I could not stay on the sidelines. So I ran. But I ran with a deep conviction. In America, I know and believe in an America where honesty, dignity, decency still matter. An America where everyone has a fair shot and hate has no safe harbor. Where the fundamental creed of this nation, that all of us are created equal, is still very much alive. And a broad coalition of Americans joined with me. 81 million voters voted for us, more than any time in all of history. Because of all of you in this room and others, we came together in 2020 to save democracy.
We regret it.
Forward, not going back. To stand against hate and violence in all its forms. To be a nation where we not only live with but thrive on diversity. Demonizing no one, leaving no one behind, and becoming the nation that we profess to be. I also ran.
What?
To rebuild the backbone of America, the middle class.
Then why y'all didn't do it? You had 3.5 years to leave your mark on this world, and you was trying to get another 4 years and another 8 years for Kamala Harris. If that's what you advocate for and that's what you stand for, here's my question to him and the Democratic Party. If that's what you was doing, then why didn't you do it? Why is this party always talking about what they're going to do after they had the opportunity to do what they was going to do? Why is the party always talking about what they're going to do after they had the opportunity to do what they was going to do? What do you mean we're going to rebuild the... You had 3.5 years. The middle class is in shambles. It was thriving in 2016 and 17 and 18 and 19. It's in shambles. Dog, do you know that I did so well during the Trump administration? I did so well that I retired in 2019 at 37 years old. That's how well I did. I ran up the bag so hard in every single facet of my life, in my businesses, in corporate America, in my investments. Everything was booming and thriving that I decided to retire from corporate America at 37 years old. In 2019, the video was still up on my channel. I walked away and I said, you know what? I got enough money to where I ain't never have to worry about another thing in my life. Real estate booming, everything booming. We good over here. That's the truth. And we never knew that the pandemic was coming. We was like, you know what? Life is good. Daughter is set. Life is all set. We going to leave a lot of money. We going to be good. We good for the rest of our life. I boomed. I thrived. I absolutely capitalized. Y'all should have capitalized. So if y'all didn't capitalize off of Trump's presidency, then you absolutely messed up. You messed up. You should have really took advantage of what was going on.
I made a commitment to you that I be a president for all Americans, whether you voted for me or not. We have done that. Studies show the major bills we have passed actually delivered more to red states than blue, because the job of the president is to deliver to all of America. Because of you,
get it out, big dog.
And I'm not exaggerating, because of you, we've had one of the most extraordinary 4 years of progress ever, period.
This is the biggest cap I've ever heard of in my life.
When I say we, I mean Kamala and me.
Okay, cool. So now we can attribute everything that's happened in this economy, and we can't say, well, she can take the wins and not the losses. Now that he said it, now that it came out of his mouth, he said that we both are responsible for the things that's happened over the last 3.5 years. Cool. I'm
Just
with
think
it.
about it.
Remember that.
COVID no longer controls our lives.
COVID.
We've gone from economic crisis to the strongest economy in the entire world. Record 16 million new jobs. Record small business growth. Record high stock market. Record high 401ks. Wages up and inflation down, way down, and continuing to go down.
What reality is they living in? What economy are they looking at?
The smallest racial wealth gap in 20 years. And yes, we both know we have more to do, but we're moving in the right direction.
This is crazy.
More Americans have peace of mind.
I need my hoodie
having
for
health
this
insurance.
one. I usually don't do
Americans
the hoodies.
have health insurance today than ever before in American history. And after, as a young senator beginning to fight for 50 years to give Medicare the power to negotiate low prescription drug prices, we finally beat Big Pharma. And guess who cast the tie-breaking vote? Vice President, soon-to-be President Kamala Harris. And now it's the law of the land. Instead of paying $400 a month for insulin, seniors with diabetes will pay $35 a month. The law we passed already includes, starting in January, every senior's total prescription cost can be capped at $2,000 no matter how expensive the drugs they have. And what we don't focus on, and our Republican friends don't seem to understand, our reforms don't just save seniors money, they save the American taxpayers money. You know what we just passed saves? It saved $160 billion over the next decade. That's not hyperbole. It's because Medicare no longer has to pay those exorbitant prices to the Big Pharma. Look,
He had a brain fart.
well, thank you, Kamala, too. Look, world without the best infrastructure in the world. Donald Trump promised infrastructure week every week for 4 years, and he never built a damn thing.
Literally blocked at every single turn. So much so that he proposed to possibly even get Mexico to help pitch in to build the wall. They had a private donor network, and they started to take the wall down, and Congress blocked them on every single front. You know, the gaslighting and the lies that goes into putting these Democratic National Conventions together is wild to me. And not
now,
only
because
that,
what Kamala and I have done, remember we were told we couldn't get it done. Remember when we came into office, we couldn't get anything passed? But right now, we're giving America an infrastructure decade, not week. We're modernizing.
do y'all know what's in that
roads,
infrastructure
our bridges,
bill?
Our ports, our airports, our trains, our buses. Removing every lead pipe from schools and homes so every child can drink clean water. We're providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where they live, not unlike what Roosevelt did with electricity. And so much more. We are uniting the country. We're growing our economy. We're improving our quality of life. And we're building a better America. How can we be the strongest nation in the world?
I'm going to try to let them speak as long as possible without interrupting them because I want to actually try to get the majority of the speech so we can get to the next part of the show.
Without leading the world in science and technology. After years of importing 90% of our semiconductor chips from abroad, which America invented those chips. Our Chips and Science Act meant that private companies from around the world are now investing literally tens of billions of dollars to build new chip factories right here in America.
We're giving them tens of billions of dollars of tax money in order to incentivize them to do it.
And over that period,
we're in a proxy war with Taiwan, and one of the reasons why we continue to negotiate on the border in order to fund these proxy wars, and that's why we continue to send money over there.
Tens of thousands of jobs. And many of those jobs in the so-called fabs, the buildings that make the chips, that's being constructed now. And guess what? The average salary in those fabs, size of a football field, will be over $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree. And so many electeds out there. American manufacturing is back. Where the hell to say we wouldn't lead the world in manufacturing? 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
That's all cap. It's 100% cap. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at Stellantis literally selling their factories to BYD, having layoffs. GM is laying off employees. The tech sector is laying off employees. The jobs that they're creating are middle wage, are middle minimum wage jobs. But you can definitely go and get a job over at McDonald's over in California and make you $20 an hour. It's so messed up, man. It's so messed up. Ask anybody searching for a job in the market today what it's like.
Made sure they'd go abroad to get the cheapest labor. We used to import products and export jobs. Now we export American products and create American jobs right here in America, where jobs belong. With every new job, with every new factory, pride and hope is being brought back to communities throughout the country that were left behind. You know you're from it, many of you. You know what it's like when that factory closed, where your mother, your father, your grandmother, grandfather worked. And now you're back, providing once again, proving that Wall Street didn't build America, the middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. And that's why I'm proud to have been the first president to walk a picket line.
He's doing anything for votes.
And be labeled the most pro-union president in history, and I accept it. Because when unions do well, we all do well. You got. Look, remember we told we couldn't get anything done because we couldn't get anything done in the Congress? Well, with your support, we passed the most significant climate law in the history of mankind.
All bad.
Over $370 billion. Cutting carbon emissions in half by 2030. Launching a climate corps, similar to AmeriCorps and Peace Corps, creating tens of thousands of jobs for young people in the future who are going to make sure this continues. Creating hundreds of thousands of jobs in clean energy for American workers, including the IBEW installing 500,000 charging stations all across America.
You know who he tapped? Because I don't see those charging stations, and they allocated a lot of those monies, and those charging stations was not working. You know who he tapped to continue to do that? You know who he tapped? Elon Musk. Because basically all he did was negotiate for other auto manufacturers to be able to use those same charging stations, which is why they're now forcing EVs down y'all throat. Is now why you have Dodge that literally killed the Challenger and the Charger or whatever, and now you have a piped-in sound that comes from speakers. And I'm not saying that anything is wrong with EVs, because I actually like EVs along with gas-powered vehicles, but now you have no choice. So now capitalism is basically being controlled by the Biden and the Harris administration, and they're forcing these stupid EVs on you.
And in the process, reducing carbon emissions. And we're seeing it. We're seeing to it that the first beneficiaries of environmental initiatives are those fence-line communities that have been smothered by the legacy of pollution. Louisiana and Delaware, Route 9. All the factories, all those chemical factories are right next to the poorest neighborhoods. They're the ones we're going to bring back. And how? How can we be the greatest nation in the world without the best education system in the world? Donald Trump and the Republican friends, they not only can't think, they can't read very well. Seriously, think about it. Look at their project 2025. You want to do?
I'm about to go ahead and cut this in a minute, because honest to God, all this is just lies and propaganda. All it is just word salad and remixing it to make it seem whatever it is that you want to seem. We all know for a fact, and they playing on people's emotions, and I'm so tired. There's nothing more irritating and aggravating than seeing somebody come in my comments and say, Anton, what about Project 2025? What about it? They don't have nothing to do with Donald Trump, and he already, in the very early stages of this thing being mentioned, said, they ain't got even nothing to do with me. Why they keep trying to put this on me? They don't want to acknowledge Agenda 47, because Agenda 47 that's on his website is actually good and is real. But people are saying Project 2025, Project 2025. If you read the 900-page document, which most people haven't, 99.9% of the people that is mentioning it haven't even went to the website and read the document. To be honest with you, it's not even crazy. It's not even crazy. I read it. I went through it. I even gave the summary and the talking points on a live stream on the Millionaire Morning Show. But this is all propaganda. This is all messy. This is just silly nonsense. Let's see if we got anything else to get out of this, and then we'll go from there.
Education. Well, during the pandemic, Kamala and I helped states and cities get back their schools back open. And we gave public school teachers a raise.
Is that why they all quitting?
We created apprenticeships with business and the communities, putting students on a path to a good paying job, whether or not they go to college. And by the way, we're making college a hell of a lot more affordable. Increasing Pell Grants by $900. Over $15 billion to HBCUs. Minority service education, including Hispanic institutions and tribal colleges. We kept our commitment to provide more student relief than ever by lifting the burden of helping millions of families so they could get married, start a family, buy a home, and begin to build family wealth and contribute to the community and grow our economy. It's not costing us, it's creating more wealth. We fundamentally transformed how our economy grows, from the middle out and the bottom up instead of the top down. You know, my dad used to say there wasn't a whole hell of a lot to drop down on my kitchen table at the end of the month. I come from a basic middle-class family.
What is he saying? What is he saying? Somebody, let me slow it down so I can see if I can get his
house, 4 kids, a grandpop living with us, decent neighborhood, but never a penny to spare. And look, that top-down notion never worked.
I can't do it.
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought it worked, but it doesn't.
What is he saying? What the? Hold on. Check it out.
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought it worked, but it doesn't.
Is this, yeah, this is the person,
A lot of Democrats didn't think it worked, thought.
Slow down, Joe. Slow down, Joe. Pronounce your words. Chew your food. Hey, Jill, can you chew Joe's food for him and give it to him? Then you got to go up there. All right, take it out of your mouth, give it to him, put it in his mouth. Jill, Mabel, Ethel, Dorothy, can you chew Joe's food for him and I can't even fumble my words the way that he's fumbling his words. Hey, Mabel, can you chew Joe's food for him and put it in his mouth? Somebody get this man a quilt. I think we've seen enough from Joe. This is a long speech. It's going nowhere. Shout out to Joe and his farewell speech. The most successful politician and his ability to last for 50 plus years and getting taxpayer dollars. Shout out to Joe Biden. God bless him. God bless America. And his farewell speech, a bitter farewell it was.